everyone, and welcome to the Jurassic World Evolution 2 exhibit speed build for the new Scorpius Rex. The Scorpius Rex from Camp Cretaceous was added to the game yesterday in the Camp Cretaceous DLC. I've showcased all of the new content on the channel, but now it is time to get creative with it. The idea for this build is that it is a hybrid research facility and battle arena, with of course all of the necessary safety precautions, the most important of which the surrounding lagoon barrier that I'm building right now. Now this lagoon barrier is not really supposed to have any marine reptiles in it, but you could definitely do that for your own park. Just in my head canon, it's purely a safety precaution, a safety feature. What I'm doing over here is I'm placing viewing towers on these little islands, and those are security towers, they're security islands. Technically, no, it doesn't work this way in the game. The viewing tower is not connected to the arrival point, so that red notification at the top, it is there to stay. But I really like the idea of having these security islands, and I think it makes sense that you would have something like that monitoring the water, just to make sure that if one of the hybrids does manage to scale the concrete wall of the lagoon, the security personnel would spot it and would react accordingly. And there's also way more security features. So right here, what I'm building at the center is also a security mound, a little raised bit of terrain with 3 viewing towers, and I've actually renamed them to be sniper towers. So these observation towers are not actually for the purpose of research. I'm using viewing galleries for that on the ground level, so the scientists can get up close and personal, not too close, not too personal, with the experiments, with the subjects, the assets, as Claire likes to say. But the viewing towers on that mound in the center are again purely for security reasons. They're manned by snipers, and if one of the hybrids manages to escape, then it's take out the target. I'm redoing some of the fence structure over here so I could fit in these access gates to make it more realistic. Again, at this point, I've accepted that there's just going to be a red notification at the top. So once you've accepted that, you can get more creative. But buildings beyond the gates, that's actually, isn't that a web series of some kind? Beyond the Gates? Anyway, you can put your buildings beyond gates to have that extra layer of security in your parks. And again, just ignore the red notification at the top. So these are the on the ground level observatories. Is that really what you'd call it? Isn't an observatory something that looks out at space? I don't really know. But essentially that is where the scientists do their science thing. They science it all up in there. And what I'm doing right now is I'm actually adding a layer of fencing in front of the viewing galleries, just because these hybrids are so dangerous. I'm just checking to make sure that the viewing is okay, and I've replaced it with like the most wiry, thinnest fencing possible. And I think that adds an extra layer of detail, an extra layer of security, an extra layer of realism, so I really like doing that. Really, double fencing is the name of the game here, because you don't want your dinosaurs to be scaling that wall. So I use the concrete as well as the Jurassic Park fencing with the barbed wire at the top, and electrical fencing for the Scorpius Rex as well. The Scorpius Rex is going to go in the middle, with on the left side the Indominus Rex and on the right side the Indoraptor. Now, the exhibits are actually only one half of this sunken island, this research facility. The other half of the island, quote unquote, is where all of the staff buildings are. So you can see that I put down a, what's it called? A response facility. There's an expedition center over there that's not actually supposed to be for expeditions. What I envision it being is a rescue helicopter that's just permanently on standby to airlift the staff out of that research section. The same with the basic arrival point. It's all just safety helicopters ready to airlift people out of there. There's another response facility, and what I'm building right here within this research facility within the island is a separate staff section, and this I imagine to be like, you know, containing the break room and stuff like that, where they come to have a bit of a rest. And it is separated from the rest of the research facility with fencing because the researchers might be spending a lot of time here. They might be writing their reports here and stuff like that, video conferencing as we do nowadays. And because they spend so much time in that area, I wanted the extra layer of security. So, you know, if there is a breach on one of the exhibits, that separate section where the staff is going to be predominantly is going to close up as well. So they have just an extra layer of fencing in between them and murderous hybrids that want to eat the flesh off their bones. Now this is the start of something exciting. I'm using the placeable foliage here. I'm not using too much foliage because of course, you know, it's a research facility, it's the desert, so we want to maintain that utilitarian dry look. It's not really about decorations. But a little bit of green did break up the monotony quite nicely. I put a power station over there, as well as a generator. I lined the generator with fencing. Again, it's all about security here. Speaking of security, here come the security cameras. I placed those all over the place, predominantly by gates and stuff. And now I'm using a lot of the brand new DFW decorations to really give it that functional look. For example, that dinosaur cage, you know, that's obviously been used to transport the dinosaurs, the specimens into their exhibits, stuff like that. And this little fenced off section is storage, so there's a lot of shipping containers and crates over there. I don't know, food for the animals, weaponry maybe, got research equipment, all that sort of stuff. Who knows? All of that is kept here in like a separate little storage area within the research facility, within the island itself. More dinosaur cages. I imagine that, you know, live dinosaurs would get transported in to experiment or observe the hunting behavior of the hybrids, that sort of stuff as well. Stuff like fresh water bottles for the employees, all sorts of stuff, and it all comes from here. Of course, using the crane so they can actually move it. And here we are in that separate facility section, separate staff section. And what I'm doing here, it was sort of a last minute thought, so it was kind of difficult to make it look right. But if you squint, that sort of looks like an H, right? So this is like a helipad. And again, this is in case of emergency. Let's say the Scorpius Rex broke out and there are scientists cowering in this separated section. They don't know how long until the Scorpius Rex is going to find them and is just going to scale those walls. So I felt like this separated section needed a place, a dedicated place for an emergency helicopter to land and airlift the scientists out of there. Again, I just think it's really interesting building that way when you think about stuff like that, and I had a lot of fun with this build. It took me about a little less than 2 hours to do all of this, and I will say this was my first time playing with the DFW decorations, so a lot of it was also just me going ooh and ah and look at this and oh this is fun, and so I think you can get this down to maybe a 1 hour build, an hour and a half build if you do want to recreate this. If you want to recreate it, I will be including an overview at the end of this video. I'll also be doing like a little showcase of what it looks like from like the first person perspective and stuff like that. So if you want to recreate this and have some fun with it, I definitely recommend it. Now I'm working on the exhibits, as you can see, and that's actually really easy, not a lot of work. I'm adding a bunker, by the way, over here because I felt like, again, security, it's important. Claire Deering, security is important. So, you know, when they're doing their observing things, their science things, and a breakout happens, they need a bunker nearby. But I was talking about the exhibits. The exhibits are very minimally decorated, and that's because you don't really want anything obstructing the line of sight, both for the purpose of research as well as for the safety guidelines, I suppose. The exhibits are very minimal. That only made sense in like the head canon that I came up with. Now here we've arrived at the section where I'm giving you an overview of what all of this looks like, a map view for if you want to recreate it. Again, there are a lot of red notifications in this park, but that's sort of what I accepted. It's It's part of the grand plan. I just really wanted to use gates to separate certain buildings from other sections of the park. I don't know yet if there's a mod that takes care of that, if that just solves the connection issue. If there is and you are using mods, then that's really great for something like this, you know, just so you won't have that red notification. But honestly, I personally have little issue with just ignoring it. Here I'm using the brand new first-person camera feature, walking around feature to walk around the research facility. So this is the storage section, and here I'm coming up to the cages as well as the exhibits. What I really like about this first-person walk-around mode is, as you can see, the gates open for you. I wasn't expecting that, so that was a nice surprise. And I'm just really happy with how this turned out, and I'm really excited to be building more stuff like this, and I will be showing you a lot more with the DFW building stuff. I'm also working on an abandoned research facility that there's so much detail in there, and I'm really happy with how that turned out, so I hope that you'll stick around on the channel to check that out. It will be uploaded either tomorrow or the day after that. If you want to make sure that you don't miss that, then please consider subscribing to the channel. I really love to share more creative ideas with you, more park builds with you. And if you are enjoying this video right here, if you like this idea, then please give the video a like. That helps me out a ton, and you can just tell how excited I am. I'm so excited by this update, and I have so many ideas. Again, so many videos are coming your way, and I really hope that is just going to give you a lot of inspiration for your own park builds. It's gonna be awesome. Of course, the purpose of this research facility is mostly to see how the hybrids square up to one another. You get it? Square. So I also included like a little clip of the Scorpius Rex fighting the Indominus a little later on in this video, and yeah, that's what they're doing at this research facility. So just imagine, you know, the gates open up to connect the exhibits that are side by side to let the dinosaurs into each other's cages, and then they can observe the dinosaur fight. So there you go, Indominus takes the first bite, and what is the Scorpius Rex gonna do? Now I also did like a showcase of all of the animations of the Scorpius Rex, and the results vary. You know, it's not the same thing every single fight. Sometimes it wins, sometimes it loses, and I really like that. So let us pretend that we are the scientists. We are observing this fight. We're taking notes. Who wins? And it is the Indominus that wins. So that means that this Scorpius Rex, this experiment has failed. We want a super strong Scorpius Rex. So what would they do? What would these scientists do? Well, the evil scientists would of course create a new and improved Scorpius Rex, and then the experiments start all over again. I want to thank you so much for watching, liking, subscribing, and until next time, enjoy the game.